I'm John Lawson, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrew, and I think he's doing a great job and a great service for people with disabilities.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the KeithAndrewNetWork. This is episode 575. I'm here with Mr. John Lawson. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Sure, glad to be here.
No, the honor is all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you... Let me do that one more time.
Okay.
The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example. Show people out there that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And it's to prove to them you can still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. So that being said, half hour, 33 minutes of your time. Normal conversation, you're making a new friend out of it. And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
All right. Well, I am a double amputee. I lost both my hands over 30 years ago, and I'm an advocate for performers with disability in film and television. I do some acting and producing and directing.
Oh, that's very cool. First off, I'm going to ask you about the elephant in the room. Were you in a car accident? Were you in a horrible accident? Well, apparently you had to be, right?
I was in an electrical accident. I worked for a company that painted above-ground water tanks, and I was holding an aluminum extension pole, and an electric line arced over to where I was working. And it burned my hands off. And then I spent the next 4 months in the North Carolina J.C. Burn Center in Chapel Hill. And that was in 1987, February the 4th, 1987. So this past February was 32 years ago.
Well, first off, you're an inspiration for going and living through life like that. If that was me, I would probably just, look for the easy way out. But you sure are an inspiration.
Well, I don't think that's true. I'm just living my life. I'm doing what I would be doing if I had hands. It wouldn't be any different. And I usually start off by saying I'm not an inspiration, and I can't count the number of strangers that come up to me if I'm pumping gas or picking a can of green beans off a grocery shelf and say, "Oh, you're such an inspiration." And there's nothing inspiring about me pumping gas or grocery shopping. All I'm doing is just living my life.
I know, but I think what they mean by it's, a normal person would just, upon it, kill themselves. But
well, I think so. I would have to disagree. I don't think any of us know what we're capable of until we face it. Whether we're facing intellectual disabilities and holding interviews like this, or if we have a physical disability in which we lose our hands. We're just living our life. We're not doing anything to try to inspire other people. And the reason I say that is, with the onset of social media and how important and how much that is in everybody's life, you'll see these pictures on Facebook, and you might see a little kid that doesn't have feet that's running on carbon fiber blades, and there'll be these little memes, and underneath it it'll say, "What's your excuse?" Or you might see a kid with no hands writing and trying to draw with her mouth by holding the pen. And, it'll say, "Before you quit, try." Or there might be a child or a person with Down syndrome that's smiling, and it says, "The only excuse is a bad attitude." And I just don't believe that. Because if those were inspirational, I believe that those memes is to inspire people that don't have disabilities and make them feel good about themselves, because they look at that and they see this kid with no feet running on a track and it says, "What's your excuse?" Or they see me with no hands and they go, "Oh my gosh, I could be like that kid, or I could be like that man with no hands. My life could be much worse. I have to be happy with my life." And if people were if that was a real inspiration, where are all the pictures and the memes that we see on social media that are supposed to inspire me? Where am I supposed to get my inspiration from as a man with no hands from those things? So they're specifically designed for people that are able-bodied and not for people with disabilities. It's what's commonly become known as inspirational porn, because it objectifies one person, whether they have intellectual disabilities or physical disabilities, for the sole benefit of another group of people, those being able-bodied people, hoping that they don't turn out like that. Hang on just one second. I had my door open and the swimming pool pump just came on and it makes a lot of noise. So yeah, I just don't believe that I'm out here. I didn't get up this morning and go, "Hey, who can I be an inspiration to today?" I got up, I put my clothes on, I had some errands to run, and then did an interview with you. So there's nothing inspirational about that. I got up, got dressed, brushed my teeth, ate breakfast, and do anything just like anybody else would with hands.
But if I may, I think you're just looking at it in a negative point of view. And I do agree with you what you just said. There's, you don't see people, like yourself who have no hands on a box of Wheaties or on TV. And I am guilty of this because I am very sensitive when it comes to people with disabilities. So one reason I do the show is to give myself therapy, so I make myself more relaxed. I give you an example. This guy came in with one arm. Yes, it bothered me, but I still gave him respect. I treated him like everyone else, even though it bothered the hell out of me. But, it's... Okay, yes, I'm a wuss because I'm very sensitive when it comes to stuff like that. But it's no excuse why you have to be a shitty human being. And you should use that motivation to say, you know what? I'm going to make an impact on your life. I give you an example of what you just said. You woke up, you put your clothes on, you're pumping gas, you're living your life. For me, if I could make an impression on one person, just one person, I can die happy. Because how we live our lives, it's about making an impression. And I argue with a lot of people over this. It's the thought that counts. When I met my hero, Bret the Hitman Hart, and out of all those people before me, he never even looked at or acknowledged. But for me, he looked right at me and he smiled. That one little act of kindness made an impression on my life. So if I have to befriend someone, disabled or not, if I can show them and give them advice or befriend them or do something small, even if it's I can't even say it for a freaking word, innocent, it's something that doesn't even make a difference. I can die happy knowing I made a difference in that person's life.
Exactly. But what you're saying, smiling or saying something nice or just treating people like everyone else, that's what we all should do. And there's nothing special about me doing it just because I don't have hands. But I smile and I understand what people mean. And if they get inspired by me and they want to go out and climb mountains, that's great. But that's not why I live my life, to be an inspiration to others. But I treat everybody with respect, whether they have disabilities or they don't. And that's the way we should be. Everyone should be in the world, not just people with disabilities. So,
no, I agree. Have you ever thought about being a motivational speaker? Because you said you are an advocate for people with disabilities, and I thank you for that. But have you ever thought about going to I don't know, like mostly like a meeting. Just to say like a practice and say people who are just like you, who have a hard time accepting the fact it's a part of
Yes.
them that's
I
missing.
do that all the time, actually. I do motivational speaking. I have been the keynote speaker at quite a few events all across the United States over the last 30 years. Um, One about 2 years ago, I was a keynote speaker at a convention of amputees or life skills for people that are amputees. And there were people there that were double amputees, triple amputees, and even people with no hands and no legs. But yeah, I do that all the time. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, I was speaking to a class at a college of occupational therapists, helping them become more familiar with actual people with disabilities or somebody who's actually an amputee. So I do that quite often and have gone back to hospital rooms and spoke to patients who've recently been amputated, had an arm or a leg amputated, mostly arms because that's what I deal with. But yeah, I do that all the time.
Now the next question I was gonna ask you is, you mentioned that you were an actor. How many years have you been acting? And also, how did you become like a motivational speaker?
Well, I've been acting ever since high school and college, and that's what I studied in college. And I came out and started working professionally. And then I was working a real job, as my dad used to say, in between acting and singing jobs to pay the bills. And I got hurt in a construction site painting this water tank. And I took off for about 15, 20 years, raised my kids, and now that my kids are grown and gone, I'm back for the last 10 years or so acting as a performer with disabilities. So I was just recently, 2 or 3 weeks ago in New York and shot a film with Drew Barrymore where I did a role for a guy that's an amputee. Came back to LA and just was in another film that the character had nothing to do with being an amputee. So to me, that's where it lies. It's not that I only can play roles where the character is an amputee. Because in my real life, when I speak at conventions or when I speak on panels, I was recently on a panel here at the Television Academy, speaking to producers and directors and showrunners and things like that, where I speak on those panels, I say, in real life, I'm a dad. I'm now a grandfather. I'm also a private pilot. I fly airplanes with no hands. I'm a scuba diving instructor. And so I teach people how to be a scuba diver. And I do all of those things, and I just happen to be an amputee. But in Hollywood, and it's taking education, and it's finally starting to turn around, but in Hollywood, I'm an actor. I'm an amputee that happens to be an actor. So I'm more often cast in roles that are specific for amputees, not just the dad or the granddad or a pilot or a scuba diving instructor or a lawyer or a banker or any of the other host of character actors that just happens to be an amputee. I'm very rarely called in unless it says that the character is an amputee, and then I'll come get called in for an audition. But we're slowly changing the education of casting directors and television showrunners and movie directors so that they see that disability is a part of diversity. And just as much as whether it's race or any other protected group, whether it's age or whatever, but disability is also a part of diversity.
Now, let me ask you a question because someone said this a while ago and it really irritated me. So I want your opinion. Someone said if someone's gay or transsexual, that's a learning disability. And that's a disability.
I don't think it's a disability. I think someone might have misspoke. It is what would be known as a protected group, but it's not a disability.
No, absolutely. That's what I said. If you want to be gay or transsexual, that's fine. But that's a life choice. being disabled or having a disability, that is not a freaking life choice, because if it was, everyone would say that.
Right. And I don't think anyone that LGBTQ status calls it a life choice either. I think that's the way people were born, that's the way they were made, and they can make no difference in that than you and I with a disability. Whether you're born with a disability or you acquire it after, as I did, losing my hands at 30 years old, then, it's not a life choice any more than it is someone who identifies with being an LGBTQ person.
Have you ever thought about getting prosthetic parts or robotic hands?
Yeah, I have those. They're actually in the shop right now. I'm getting new sockets made so they fit better. So, but I have them, and I use them occasionally in film and television. But right now they're just getting repaired. But the split hook design that I use was designed in the 1940s, and that's when America had its most amputees, was after World War II. And that's when the split hook design became most popular in use. They are easy to use. They're body powered, so you don't have to worry about batteries running down. And they're waterproof if you want to scuba dive or something like that. So that's why this has always been the basis for mine. But I do have the bionic or the robotic. The myoelectric is the correct term.
Well, if you really want to have fun with it, put one more hook on, it can be Wolverine.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, what inspires you to be a speaker? I mean, like you mentioned before, because you said you don't like being called inspirational, even though you are. What makes a difference, or like what do you do to help people? I give you an example. What could you do for me to make a difference in my life? And what could I do for you to make a difference in your life?
Well, I became a motivational speaker just as a way to educate people. And, I think, like I said, when people call me inspirational, I know what they mean, because they go, oh, God, if that happened to me, I would never be able to do what you do. But I just don't believe that's true. I don't think any of us know what we're capable of until we do it, and until we're forced to do it. And one of the things that there was a movie out, Me Before You, a couple of years ago, where this guy was a great athletic guy, and he became a quadriplegic, and he decided it was better to kill himself than live. And that, being in the public eye, really puts forth a bad image on people with disabilities, that it's better off to be dead than live with a disability. So I think in being a motivational speaker, I try to educate people against those stereotypes, because in film and television, where I would say the majority of the population is introduced to someone with a disability, the good doctor with autism, or actors like Born This Way with Down syndrome, or amputees, and I have a lot of friends that are amputees that are in film and television. And the only way a lot of people ever see that is when they see them in a role in film and television. Now, a recent study showed that 95% of all the characters on television with a disability are done by able-bodied actors. So we have people that are pretending to be disabled. And I'm not 100% against that, and that's not necessarily an opinion that's held by everyone in Hollywood with a disability. I think the best actor should get the role no matter what. If it's up between me and another guy, and I don't have hands and he does, and they can take his hands and remove them by green screen or computer effects, and he's a better actor and does a better job, then he should get the job, because a bad actor will ruin a whole show. So my reason for getting into being a motivational speaker was purely for education, to educate people, not necessarily to inspire them. If they become inspired because they see me or they see the accomplishments I've made in life, then that's great. But that's not why I do it. That's not why I live my life. That's not why I became a pilot. That's not why I became a scuba diving instructor.
All right, so why did you do all of those stuff?
It's because what I've always wanted to do. I started learning to be a pilot when I was 15 or 16 years old in an Air Explorer post through the Boy Scouts of America. And at that time, my parents didn't have the money for me to pay for the gas and everything to rent the airplanes. So I never got to do it. Later in life, my wife was diagnosed with a terminal cancer, and she got involved in, or was selected to be involved in a new cancer vaccine program. And so I got my pilot's license to learn how to fly so I could fly her to the town where she was going to be in this trial, and then back home before the kids got out of school. So it had nothing to do with me being a disability or wanting to do something because I didn't have hands. It had to do something to help my family and to help my wife and make it easier on us. Plus, I'd always wanted to do it. I started when I was 16 and I wanted to complete it. It just so happens I didn't get my pilot's license until after I lost my hands. And it was the same thing with scuba diving. I've always loved scuba diving. I started as a kid, as a teenager, and it wasn't until after I lost my hands, after I was 30 years old, that I had the resources to be able to take classes and actually become a scuba diver, a certified scuba diver, and then got real involved and wanted to become an instructor. So I'm also a Handicap Scuba Association instructor trainer. So I can train people with disabilities and able-bodied people how to be an HSA instructor as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and with the remaining time, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Williams.
This is Vanessa Lina. Adrian Lalo.
Michael.
This is Cynthia Bastinet.
I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith.
My name is Alexandra Bowie.
My name is Amelia Clover.
Hi, I'm Amy Linden.
Hi, I'm Anita Nicole Brown.
It's Meg Green.
Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke.
Hi, I'm Bryn Berg.
Hi, I'm Casey Dunn.
Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky.
Hi, I'm Christina Briza.
I'm Cindy Hogan.
I'm Courtney Sinello.
Hi, I'm Daisy.
My name is Deborah Jane East.
Hi, my name is Dinah Marasea.
Everyone, I'm Victoria London.
Hi, I'm Heather Krona.
Hi, I'm Heather Callahan Stevens.
Hi, I'm J. Nicole Ralph.
My name is Jamie Petrone.
My name is Tilly.
My name is Julia Brankovich.
Kathleen Wills.
Kimberly Amato.
Hi, my name is Laura Putnam.
Hi, I'm Laura Chapanis.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Damas.
This is Michelle Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia.
I'm Rachel Olivera.
Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount.
Hi, I'm Susan Brender.
Hi, everyone. This is Venus Leone.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Turner.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show. It was super
fun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 575, and here's John Lawson. And with the last 8 minutes left of the show, I'm going to pass it over to you. Was there anything you wanted to know, anything you wanted to promote and share? This is your time.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm currently prepping and getting ready for my 4th Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge film. And if you want more information on that, you can go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com. And it's where we make a film in a weekend. You get the genre, the theme, and props that you need to use, and shoot the film in one day, then edit and upload, and then it's judged by people, producers and directors and actors in the industry. And the only requirement is that you have a person with a disability either in front of or behind the camera. And so this is the 3rd consecutive year in my 4th film. My film 2 years ago starred Jamie Brewer, who has Down syndrome. And we did sort of a reverse perspective on Down syndrome, where what if everybody in the world had Down syndrome? And what was normal was having the extra chromosome, but the abnormal or the odd people were the ones with only 23 base pairs. So we did a film called Whitney's Wedding, and it's available online. You can look it up. And we won awards all over the world with that film. It's a little short 5-minute, 6-minute film. And then last year I did another film with a little actress who was only 3 years old, who has spinal muscular atrophy. And it also starred a good friend, Parvesh Chenna, who best known for his TV sitcom that he did called Outsourced. And he's done lots of other things as well. He was recently in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. But so a television actor. So we did that last year. And that's another film that's available online. You can see it. And it's won awards as well. And this year, my film will star Micah Fowler, who people might know from ABC TV show Speechless. He has CP, or cerebral palsy. And in the film, he plays an actor who is speechless, who can't speak, and uses a board to communicate. So he's going to star in my show, and some of my other actors are coming back. Jamie Brewer is going to be back in the skin this year, and also Gia Lopez, who was my 3-year-old. So we have a great cast and crew all put together. So I'm getting ready to do that. That's the first weekend in April. And if anybody's interested and wants to make a film, you don't have to have fancy cameras or fancy equipment. You can shoot it on your cell phone, edit it, and upload it by Sunday night at 6:59 p.m. And then you can be in the running for the film festival. There's things like mentors. The mentor this year for Best Director is Phil Lord. Phil Lord just won an Oscar for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And he's also the writer-producer of 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, Cloudy with Meatballs, and a whole bunch of films like that. So he's going to be one of the mentors this year, and also the producer from the Crazy Rich Asians, which has done very well movie, will be one of the mentors. There's also prizes you can win, like Dell laptops and tablets, computers, and also cash awards that will be go along for the winners of the top 3 films as well. So that's what I'm getting ready to do now. And so I'm real excited about that. We've got a really good team together, and looking forward to shooting the film. And like I said, be looking for me in a film with Drew Barrymore that be out in the next few months, I guess, called The Stand-In. And that's a film that I did there in New York. And also one coming out, a low-budget film called Rollers, and it's about a musical venue and trying to save this musical venue. So that's the 2 projects. I did a couple more auditions this week for a television show, a new TV show on Netflix, but have to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't say anything about it. But hopefully I'll hear something from those soon, and you look for me on television and film.
No, absolutely. And if it's possible, I would love to work with you.
Yeah, sometime maybe we can. Who knows? So it would be great. But I'd advise you and anyone else who's interested to enter the film challenge. It's the best way to make a film. You can make it over the weekend. It's not a huge commitment. You can ask your friends to help you with sound and editing and acting. And all you have to do is write a little 5-page story, a 5-page script, about 5 minutes, and then shoot it over the weekend and upload it. And there's a lot of people in the New York area. There's going to be a meetup there. If you go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com, you can find out where there will be a meetup. They'll be looking for actors and directors and producers and camera people and sound people. So it'll be there in New York in the next few weeks. I'm not sure exactly what the date is, but like I said, if you go to the website, disabilityfilmchallenge.com, all the rules, regulations, prizes, and how to sign up is all right there.
No, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction and how do you feel now? And on social media, are you on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn? How can people follow you? Yeah, people can follow me on Instagram at JWLawson57, JWLawson57, LAWSON. And that's also on Twitter, the same thing. And I have a fan page. My actor fan page is John W. Lawson. So that's where you can find me on all the social medias.
And I'm always interested in doing an interview and trying to help promote that people with disabilities are just like everybody else, and that we're capable of doing things that even though people think they could never do it, if they're able-bodied, people can. And all anyone with a disability wants is a chance and independence. And that's what it's all about, is being independent and having a chance to show what we can do. So I appreciate you letting me be on the show, and I wish you all the luck in the world.
No, absolutely. Stay tuned. I have a couple questions off the air. But
Alrighty.
I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
All right, sounds good.